Woo! Here we are once again. It's another Thirsty Thursday night. That's right. College football Thirsty Thursday is here because this is the night where we get a little bit of football, but it just wets our taste just enough to make us. I don't know about you, but it really don't do much for me watching Middle Tennessee State play Georgia State or something like that on a Thursday night. So it just makes us thirsty, right? We should have a guest coming up in here in just a second. We'll have Killer Breeze, who is a big-time Oklahoma booster that comes and joins us from time to time. But so far, we got Thunder OU's in the house. I've been going back and forth with that Twitter troll, and he hadn't enough. He said he's a fan in his home turf. Well, now, really. But before we get to all that, some of the topics today that we got, we're going to have probably a possible little induction. We got trying to add Killer Breeze for you right now, but it seems like we're having some technical difficulties. Well, I can't get him in here right now, but anyway, there he comes. Just fixing to boot you out, man, make you come back in. Like you're on freeze frame there, bro. Seems like Killer Breeze is having some technical difficulties. We're going to talk about Texas and their little poll. You think you're lagging a little bit on us there, Killer. Rick Birdwell's in the house. He's got his badge. Justin Goss is in the house with his badge. Lester, a.k.a. Lester's in the house, and he has his badge. Already throwing up some donations here. We got Trucking John with a $4.99 donation. I don't see your comment, Trucking John. If you want to leave a comment, and I'll read it out. What you have to do when you make those donations, Trucking John, is you have to hit the little dollar sign, then write your comment, then hit send, or you won't get your comment highlighted. But yes, thank you as well for watching the show and whatnot. We're also going to talk about Shaka Zulu Sanders, Saka Zulu, whatever his name is these days, flashing his little Armani watch or whatever watch it was. They said that thing cost like, I don't know, what was it, like a couple of $100,000 maybe? I know it was about a $25,000 watch, right? I just want to get y'all's feel on exactly what y'all think about Deion's sons flashing $20,000, $30,000 watches after the game of the Arizona State fans. Also, we have some more conference realignment possibilities. The ACC is trying to get ahead of the curve. As you know, they added Stanford and Cal and SMU, and now they're trying to possibly, they're saying that they're vetting some more teams. They got a list of teams here. I was going to get y'all's take on that as well. We also have a couple of great matchups this week: Oregon versus Washington, Notre Dame versus USC. Colorado's playing Stanford, Alabama's playing Arkansas, Tennessee's playing Texas A&M, and North Carolina's playing Miami. Can you hear us yet, Killer Breeze?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I'm having internet issues tonight, apparently. I don't know what the hell's going on with AT&T.
Yeah, I have it sometimes myself. Seems like we had a little poll the other day. I wanted to be fair and be democratic about everything because I'm a fair person. I don't want to just induct somebody into a Hall of Fame, actually not a Hall of Fame, a Hall of Shame, without taking the proper steps and procedures in order to be fair about it. And I'll just let you give the results of that poll as far as the possibility of Texas being inducted.
Well, I'm pleased to report that with the votes coming into the OCF precinct by a margin of 93%, the Texas Long Puddings have now become inducted into the Skittle Shitter Hall of Shame.
Woo! Congratulations, Texas.
You made it, Long Pudding.
You're the only second team to be in there. You'll never be the original Skittle Shitters, but you're right up there with USC now. So Here's the little graph that we're talking about, just so y'all don't think we're making this shit up. There it is, right there. Fair and square. A real poll, not like the last election, but a real poll.
You gotta love the people speaking clearly and loudly that the Long Puddings deserve to be in the Skittle Shitter Hall of Shame.
Hey,
and quite frankly, it couldn't happen to two better fan bases.
it just have to be fair, man. Fair is fair, right? They want unbiased. I had to give them unbiased.
Well, we're a democracy. We're a democracy.
That's
so
right.
we put it to the vote.
Exactly.
And the votes came in 93%. Long Puddings are Skittle Shitters.
You like that Long Pudding nickname, huh?
I do.
There's a lot of long stuff I can add to them. The long cowards. There's a lot of shit that you can like. The long turds, whatever.
Long Pudding. I think Long Pudding is perfect. Long Pudding you coined a great phrase there. You coined a couple, and that's one of them.
That was the first one that come out of my mouth, so I'm just like, I'll just stick with that for a little while. It makes them sound like they're a little soft. And I hate to keep dragging it out and keep talking about the Red River rivalry because I know some people want to move on, but why not enjoy it for a little while? They're continuing to say shit. And, like I told USC, if you want me to move on, then quit saying shit and quit targeting me and reporting my channel and doing all that shit if you want me to move on from it, right?
Well, what's interesting is, everybody's afraid to back off of particularly the people that made, buffoons of themselves with some of their analysis, particularly Colin Cowherd, who just casually admits with Joel Klatt on the show yesterday that USC is the third best team in the Pac-12. This is a guy who's been talking about USC and Lincoln Riley like it's the second coming of Vince Lombardi and the Green Bay Packers. You've got to be kidding me. And now he's just casually, USC is the third best team in the Pac-12. Get out of here, man.
Well, there's a little screenshot floating around too. I did on my last podcast. I don't know if it's accurate or not. It might be a Photoshop. It might be fake news. I don't know, but it's basically supposedly from On3 that Steve Sarkisian said the reason why they lost to Oklahoma is because they ran out of time.
Yeah, I saw that. That was ridiculous too. Look, the reality is, and everybody saw it, so there's no denying what you don't let your eyes fool you. Oklahoma was the more physical team. Oklahoma beat their ass in the trenches. Oklahoma came in with attitude and started playing like their hair was on fire from the very first snap till the end of the game. And that's kind of typical of a listen, they've won 17 out of the last 25 games against the Long Puddings. So it's not like that was an uncommon result for us. But in the wake of last year, I think it was nice to see Oklahoma reestablish who owns who in that rivalry because it really ain't close.
Now, changing gears a little bit, I saw an article today that was sent to me by a guy by the name of Bart Weisenhut. He's a big fan of the channel. And it basically said that SI was reporting that Lincoln Riley was considering retiring early. Now, I'm not making that up. I'm not trying to troll. He actually done an interview saying that he's thinking about retiring because of what happened to Mike Leach and some other guy. Can't remember his name. There's two guys that were his mentors passed away from health issues, I guess, associated with the stress of coaching college football. And it seems to me like he's already setting himself up for an excuse, an out to get out without trying to save face before it happens, because I think he's thinking about quitting. And y'all were talking about him leaving and going with Caleb Williams after this, and I thought it was just wishful thinking. But y'all might be onto something because he's already saying that he's having thoughts of early retirement. Now, I know the USC skill shitters and their boosters can't be too happy about that. They put a lot of money into this guy and a lot of faith in him.
I agree. It's just I think it is exactly what it seems like it is. Listen, if you go watch his last post-game press conference when they barely beat Arizona, you can see he came in knowing he was about to get peppered about why did his team struggle to beat Arizona. And he came in trying to talk about how hard it is to come back from 17-0 and how, that's hard to do. That's hard to do. Hey, good game. We got to win, and he knows a win is not a win. A win is not a win. That was not a good win. That's a W, but that ain't a win. That's a loss.
I just can't believe that he's already talking about retiring. I mean, because
he can't take the heat, man. That's one of his defining characteristics is the guy cannot take the heat. And people are starting to get hip to his BS. People are starting to get hip to the fact that he's horrible with his people skills. He's not that great of a head coach. You can't even really give him credit for what he did at Oklahoma. It's really what he didn't do because the teams that he got were stacked and he should have won. But his culture around defense, his culture in general, he is soft. You want to talk about puddings? That's Lincoln Riley. He's soft as baby poo.
That's right.
I'm trying to cut down on the cussing.
Well, we're gonna try to get
baby poo doesn't sound as cool.
They put me in Killer Breeze on about a 3 or 4 day limited ad thing before they finally took me out of the corner. Jackasses. Courtney says Danny Stutzman was on the Pat McAfee show, and he called out Pat for picking Texas on College Game Day.
It was awesome. Have you seen the clip?
I have not seen it. Wish I'd known. I would have had it ready.
It's great. You can catch it. You can find it on YouTube. They have a video of the entire interview. It's awesome, man. And Stutzman, he's kind of developing this kinship with Bosworth, and he's starting to really come into his own, not just as a great player, but as a great personality, as a great leader. He's always been what's the right word? Goofy's the wrong word because he's not a goof, but he's always kind of cut up a little bit, had a fun personality, so to speak. But now he's really coming into his own. And he did it in a good way where it didn't come off as arrogant or awkward. It was a nice poke at McAfee, and it was just a great interview. It was a fairly long interview too. I think it went on it might have been, a 20-minute interview.
A while ago, Mike made a donation. I didn't call it out. Mike Wilson with $2 donation says he loves it when we have Killer Breeze on here.
What's going on, Mike?
You're becoming a very big fan favorite on here, Killer.
Man, listen, I love the Outlaw Posse. I love being a part of the Outlaw Posse. I love getting to talk with the Outlaw Posse when we do these shows. I'm honored that you're having me on the show when you asked me, and happy to do it, man. I've got this bad habit I've noticed where I'm constantly looking left or looking up. I'm not crazy. I have sports on in the background, and I'm constantly looking at the TV. I gotta get better on my YouTube camera skills. I'm not really used to that.
I'm trying to get the Stutzman commentary, but it's uploading right now for y'all.
Have you heard? You certainly by now you've seen the quote from Danny Stutzman from the speech that he gave before the Oklahoma game, right? Have you seen that quote?
No, I have not.
That was one of the things. That was one of the main things they talked about in the Pat McAfee show. So there's video footage of Stutzman before the game giving a pep talk speech, and he says, "I'm certain of two effing things in my life. Number one, Oklahoma only fears God, and number two, Texas fears Oklahoma." And everybody goes nuts. Pat McAfee was talking about how awesome it was. And man, it's going to kind of go down again. I brought up the Bosworth kinship. Bosworth is pretty famous for saying when he was a junior that the color burnt orange makes him want to puke. And that's lived on forever, ever since he said it. And Danny Stutzman's quote is going to live on the same way. It was awesome.
I liked him from the get-go. I told you at the beginning of the year, man, I was like, that guy's something special. Yeah, this was when they was playing very, very lethargic competition, but you could tell, man, it didn't matter what the competition level was. The guy's got the it factor. Like I said, he's got that Brian Bosworth kind of fixture about himself. I actually saw Brian Bosworth in an old TV show the other day. I didn't know he was in it, man. There was a clip of him in Blue Mountain State. I'm going to get that clip and put it on here for y'all.
Boz, listen, man, in all seriousness, Boz is one of the best college linebackers ever. The dude was a stud. If you go back and watch old tape of Bosworth, he's on the ball every play. The guy was amazing. From sideline to sideline, that dude was a stud, and really, Stutzman reminds me a lot of him. There's a great picture of Stutzman after the win of the Red River rivalry. Apparently, him and Boz were hanging out before the game, and Boz gave him a pair of his sunglasses and signed the front of the lenses. And there's a picture of Stutzman sitting in a chair smoking a victory cigar with the golden hat on and Bosworth's sunglasses. It's pretty awesome.
If you guys don't mind, you guys could jump out of the chat and smash the like button. It'll push the algorithm and it'll get more people in here, and we'll get this party started even bigger. Cater Tater says, who is the backup quarterback at USC? I've literally never heard his name when I watch the game. That's a good point. I haven't never heard of him either.
Isn't it Miller Moss?
I'm not sure. If Caleb ever gets hurt, that dude will have the most pressure in college football on him. That's funny because I was just watching a show or a movie that it's sort of like this comment. Have you ever seen Varsity Blues?
Oh, yeah.
I was watching that, and old Moxon then took over, man. And yeah, it'd be a hell of a lot of pressure coming in behind old Mary Caleb Williams' fingernails. I mean, they might have to brush him up on how to paint his fingernails or something. I don't know, man. But USC just seems like they're in a lot of trouble, man. If they don't get a defense pretty soon, man, they're going to run into Oregon and Washington eventually. And speaking of Oregon and Washington, they play this week. Oregon and Washington, the game between Oregon and Washington this week could actually probably be for a playoff spot, in my opinion. What do you think?
Absolutely. You're looking at arguably the best running game in the country against arguably the best passing game in the country with Penix at Washington and the ground game at Oregon. They're both highly ranked top 10 teams. There's no doubt there's a playoff spot on the line. And the funny thing to me is USC is not a part of the game with the playoff spot on the line. Everybody now just assumes, even the USC writers and fan base, they all expect not just one, multiple losses, which is probably what's going to happen. They're going to have a problem this weekend going to Notre Dame because apparently the weather report in South Bend is very a heavy rain, sideways, flying rain, so much rain. So, and a lot of wind. So it's going to benefit running, and USC sucks against the run. So I think USC gets its first win this weekend at Notre Dame.
The first loss?
First loss.
Barrett Salee, who's usually up Lincoln Riley's ass. You're seeing a lot of these Lincoln strokers out there, as I like to call them. You're seeing a lot of the Lincoln strokers out there trying to distance themselves from Lincoln, it seems. And they haven't even lost a game yet. They're 6-0, but they can see it coming, man. I mean, when you do what you did against Arizona, man, it's just obvious that something ain't right, man. I mean, they should have probably lost it, and they were down 17-0.
They should have lost the game for sure. Mike, by the way, corrected me. He's right. I remember this now. Boz was a redshirt freshman when he said that. You're right. I remember the interview. I can see him in the interview saying it. He was when he was a younger player. You're right about that.
Yeah, my Waffle House.
But yeah, I think USC's time has come. I think they get the first loss this weekend, and they'll have one or two more. They might lose the next 4 or 5. UCLA has got a great defense, amazingly, with Chip Kelly there, which kind of surprises me because Chip Kelly was all about offense, but their strong suit is their defense. And who's to say they're going to even beat UCLA? So what happens if they win? What happens if they lose 4 or 5?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's why he's saying what he's saying, man. You got to give Lincoln one thing. He's smart enough to realize that, hey, I need to get ahead of this possibly. But what he don't realize is there's some of us out there just as smart that sees right through it, man. It's just so transparent what he's trying to do. He's trying to take some of the sting off when he walks out the door again. because he knows that he took a lot of backlash over how he handled the whole Oklahoma situation. Rich Castle already had his badge, but he's re-upped for 3 months. Rich Castle's in the Outlaw Posse. You see people in here with their badges like Mike Wilkerson, Lester, Killer Breeze, and numerous others in here with their badge. If you want a badge and you want to get deputized and be in the Outlaw Posse, it's not $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. It's a little join button next to subscribe button. Hit that join button. You'll get your badge and be deputized, and you'll possibly get a random Four Horsemen shout out on the podcast, as well as possibly be the comment of the day.
Yes. Hey, what is this? What is Thunder OU Sooner talking about? Did you see what USC was doing with the weed sprayer, trying to make it like it's rainy for their punters? No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, they're probably doing that because of what you said about the weather, man. They're trying to prepare themselves for the weather in Notre Dame. What they don't realize, it's probably going to be cold too. They can't simulate that in Southern California.
Wait, is the game being played at SoCal? I thought it was being played in Notre Dame.
It is. It's being played in Notre Dame.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be cold in Notre Dame, probably.
Yeah.
They can't simulate that. They can simulate the wet field all they want, but it's not going to simulate cold rain.
No, hell no, especially cold sideways coming rain, and that's what they're talking about with a lot of wind. So, man, look, at the end of the day, Caleb Williams can only win so many games for you on his own, and so far, he's won every one of the games that they've won so far. So, as well as I do, and the entire chat and Outlaw Posse knows, we've seen it, by the way, ourselves with Oklahoma under Lincoln Riley. That great offense that you have, yeah, that's great. It's flashy. It's all frosting and no cake, because at the end of the day, that offense cannot play at that high level for 12 out of 12 games in the regular season. It doesn't happen. At some point, the offense hits a bump, and the defense needs to be able to hold it down and get the win. So look, man, for so many different reasons. I mean, there's so many reasons why USC is going to be a major letdown this year. And I think going back to what you were talking about, I think that's exactly why Lincoln Riley is even floating things out there like early retirement. He's doing it so he can try to turn a narrative, because the mutiny is on. Rome is burning.
That's right. He wants to get ahead of it and say, look, I told y'all I was going to retire. You can't say I did anything sorry. I warned y'all ahead of time. That's what he's trying to do, so he'll have an out if they start losing. He wants that. He wants to have that out so he can save face and possibly get a job somewhere in the NFL. Maybe not as a head coach, but definitely as an offensive coordinator or something like that, right? And also, we got almost 70 people here in the chat already. The comments are coming in fast and furious. So if y'all want to get your comment read out, there's a little $sign at the bottom. Click on that, write your comment out, then hit send, so you make sure you get your money's worth, and we can read your comment out if you want to donate something to the show.
Jonathan Lewis is in the house. What's up, Jonathan?
There he is.
Yeah.
Oh, Kentucky.
You guys don't mind, show a little love to the Outlaw, man. Those donations go a long, long way, especially with YouTube doing what they do best and I'm trying to say this clean, man.
Yeah, they already know. I mean, I got proof. I screenshot it and put it on there. They probably didn't like that too much, but I just wanted people to see that they were definitely trying to censor me.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. It's complete BS.
Well, it's like you said. I think you said this, but shouldn't they have something better to worry about than somebody talking about college football? They want to censor
100%.
something.
100%.
They want to censor somebody talking about Joe Biden shitting himself on the podium or something.
Absolutely. What's up, Lori? How we doing tonight? Who said that? Richard Young said Riley's going to coach volleyball, transgender volleyball. That's
earlier. Someone was asking about merchandise. College football. Jonathan Lewis. Jonathan Lewis is helping me out with that now. He's trying to help me with technological stuff for the channel. College football. Jonathan Lewis might be able to answer that better, because he was supposed to be working on me a store. We're supposed to have a store up 2 or 3 days ago, but we still ain't got it up. He even called me a hippie.
All right.
He's like, I'm gonna get to it tomorrow, hippie.
You don't strike me as the hippie type.
I know, right? I mean, where'd that come from? I mean, damn, that'd be like calling USC a defensive juggernaut or some shit.
So, man, here's the question. I think I brought this up on our last live stream. If Caleb Williams, if Oklahoma continues on their trajectory, let's say they make the college playoff and USC continues on their trajectory and they don't make the college playoff, is Caleb Williams privately kicking himself in his own backside for leaving? I mean, wasn't the whole reason why he left because he just thought for sure that there was no way Oklahoma was going to keep winning, like Tebow was going to keep winning?
Like, I'm an Alabama fan first and foremost, okay? But let me tell you something, man. If y'all would have won a national title before Caleb Williams left USC, that would definitely be the ultimate slap in the face for him and Tebow. That'd be a double-decker right there, brother. I'm serious. I mean, that would be priceless. If Alabama can't win a national championship, I damn well would like to see Oklahoma do it. But some of your fans are not a real big fan of me talking about your team a lot. So
that's one thing I wanted to. One of the things I wanted to address. Before I do that, T Boomer asks, "What part of Oklahoma are you from?" I think you're asking me what part of Oklahoma am I from. My dad's family, our family in Oklahoma is from the Dewey area, which is right outside of Bartlesville, which is just right near Tulsa, near the Kansas border. But I went to OU as a freshman and lived in Norman, Walker Tower. So let's address the. I think they get on you because they say you're a bandwagon Sooner fan.
That's what they say.
Yeah, let's address that. Let me address that for you. The outlaw of college football has been riding with the Sooner Nation since the day Lincoln Riley slithered out of town in the middle of the night like the snake that he is. And the only person outside of Sooner Nation that was saying anything positive about Oklahoma was the OCF. So for any of you guys,
nobody wanted to ride with y'all.
100%. 100%. There was nobody else. That's my point. So before you start running your mouth about bandwagon this and bandwagon that, get your facts straight. Don't be one of these clowns these days that just plays by your own, make some facts up in your head, and that's the story you go by. Check out the reality of the situation. Go back and look at the videos. If you have any doubt, there's actually a video record of it, homie. It drives me nuts, man, to be honest with you, because as a Sooner fan, when Riley left, God, man, that sucked so bad. And what made it worse was how everyone you listened to outside of Norman was talking about how that was just going to be the kiss of death, and Oklahoma was about to be the next Nebraska. You know.
See, there's a big difference, man. The big difference is this, and Colin Coward, for some reason, omitted this fact. When Nebraska left the Big 12 to join the Big 10, they were leaving behind all their recruiting resources, all the states they recruited to, really. They never recruited Ohio and Pennsylvania and New York and states like that, and Michigan, okay? So that's what happened in Nebraska. They got out of their recruiting base, and now they're struggling because kids in Texas don't want to go play in West Lafayette, Indiana against Purdue.
Hell no.
Okay? And Oklahoma has never just been microcosm down to the state of Oklahoma, ever.
Never.
Pretty much owned Texas in recruiting as much as Texas, if not more. So
always.
And not only that, but they've been able to recruit California, Florida, Georgia, places like that. So for him to make that statement was just, to me, like a straw grasp. Like he was just desperate and hoping that shit would stick, because Brent Venables has a recruiting base on the East Coast already from his time with Clemson. And now he comes back to Oklahoma where his roots are at. So now he's got both. So what do you think is going to happen? You're going to have
Absolutely.
top 5 recruiting classes. And that's not just me making that up or saying that or giving my opinion or predicting that. That's actually happened already.
I mean, man, the worst that he's done so far is 8. He finished 8 in 2022. He finished 4th last year. And right now he sits at 7. We just picked up the number 1 player, internationally ranked player, offensive lineman, 3-star offensive lineman. And they still have their sights on a couple of people, the least of which is a 5-star sitting out in Missouri, who, let's face it, every time Oklahoma gets a win like they did in the Red River shootout, you can't tell me that doesn't push a Williams Nwaneri flip that much closer to happening. So, look, I think everybody needs to focus on the next game ahead of you instead of focusing down the road. But the likelihood is we probably will play Texas again. And it's a great opportunity to get a great win. Once you get good at a certain point, you got to win the big games. I don't give a shit. I don't care if it's against Texas or USC or whoever. The big game's coming, and we got to be able to win those again. So I love where we're at. I still think this year is a year early to be – look, I think anything is possible. So could they win the national championship this year? 100%. Crazier things have happened.
Well, I mean,
but I don't think this is the year. I feel like Jackson Arnold's junior year is the year. Taylor Tatum will be 2 years in at that point. You will have Devon Mitchell. What's that?
A lot of people say that. A lot of people say this is when this is going to happen, and it seems like teams are always a year ahead. Just like with Bob Stoops in his second year. He won a national championship. He was ahead of schedule. And sometimes you win it early and then never win it again, like Bob Stoops did.
Right, Bob Stoops, yeah.
Bob Stoops, he had you on contention just about every year, as well as winning every single Big 12 title there was, I think.
Well, Bob made 4 national championships.
Yeah. To say that Lincoln Riley is a builder of programs is just not accurate. He didn't build shit at Oklahoma. He was never kids to a pretty decent program. And he goes to USC, and they're saying, well, he built USC. No, he didn't. He raided Oklahoma's roster. He done that shit shady, done it behind closed doors. He was still working for Oklahoma while he was recruiting for USC with some guy, one of his assistants. I never can remember that guy's name. Y'all could probably help me with it, but there's a guy that was on his staff that was helping him recruit for USC before he ever went to USC. And that's a big breach of etiquette, man, in any kind of business.
Yeah.
But
yeah, man, the chat room is blowing up. We got some Bartlesville folks. Mike Hawk says he goes up past Dewey to Kansas to place his bets. Love that. Stops at the Bartlesville Dog Park. Bartlesville's not that big. Dewey's even smaller. But yeah, man, I think I agree with everything. I agree with what you're saying.
So let me ask
you. At the end of the day, Lincoln Riley. Go ahead.
I was going to change the subject for a second. There's something that's been bothering me. I saw this thing where Shadur Sakazulu Sanders was flashing his little $25,000, $30,000 watch at the Arizona State fans after the game. I'm like, what's that all about, man? And how is that teaching someone to be class? Some people will take up for it. Like Jonathan Lewis actually sort of take up for it. Like, man, they're kids. They want to show off their Louis and blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, man, that's just, to me, it's a little classless, man. What is it teaching? You know what I'm saying?
100%. But man, that's his calling card, That's his calling card. And I really feel bad. Did you see Colorado offered him a lifetime contract and he turned it down?
Well, no shit. Because he knows.
That's what I'm saying.
He knows what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And don't be surprised now. I know they stunk it up against USC, but Colorado struggled with every team since TCU. I mean, they come on now. Yeah. Except for Nebraska. But Nebraska's not Nebraska. But they struggled with Colorado State, who barely beat Middle Tennessee State, I think. And then they struggled with Arizona, who is not a very good team. They're 2-3 or 3-3. So don't be surprised if Stanford pulls an upset this week. And that happens, he's screwed because he better win this game. Because if he don't, he's not going to have many more opportunities because this is the last opportunity before the gauntlet really starts for old con time Deion Sanders.
Yeah, I'll be glad when reality sets into him. You know, I'm kind of annoyed that they're better than I thought that they would be, and they are. I'll admit it. But I also think that they are a glass house, man. It just, they're going to come down real easy, and I just don't see it. I just only question. You think? Tell me what you think, or let me hear from the chat room. Chat room, tell me what you think. Is he going to do anything in recruiting? Is he going to get the players that he needs to get? Because he made a comment about how he's going to go get his lineman and he'll be back. And blah blah blah. So
you talking about Lincoln Riley?
No, I'm talking about Sanders. Deion.
Oh, you're talking about Contown.
Is he ever going to do anything in recruiting? Because that's the only thing. I'm surprised. Huh?
He hasn't done real good in recruiting high school players to me.
No, he's terrible. Right now, he's sitting at like 75th. He's not. He's got a tiny commit. I think he's got like 8 commits or 9 commits, something like that.
Well, he's got one of the best transfer portal classes. That don't mean shit. All you're doing is getting players that couldn't cut it where they were at. You're going to get players from time to time, like Alabama did with Jamison Williams, that are nuggets. But 70 to 80% of the time, you're just taking somebody's thrown out trash.
Correct. And they're typically not going to be there for very long. So, you want to be able to bring players in that are freshmen and building them from there, developing them in your program and your culture. And hopefully you have them for 3 or 4 years. But if you're trying to sustain a program off a transfer portal alone and very little high school talent, I don't believe it's going to work. Somebody's going to have to prove me wrong on that. And so far, no one has. You can get a great player. It happens. Okay, USC got Caleb Williams in the transfer portal. Is there a better get than that? Probably not.
Mike Wilson brings up a good point. USC's last national title was vacated. That is true.
That is true.
As a matter of fact, here's a little history lesson for everybody out there that likes college football history. USC is the only team to ever have to vacate a national title in college football. So congratulations on that distinct honor there. That and being one of only 2 people in the now 2-member class of the Hall of Shame of Skittle Shitters. As you know, Texas earlier was inducted by Killer Breeze as the second Hall of Shame inductee for the Skittle Shitters there.
That's right.
Texas. So now we have the USC Skittle Shitters and the Texas Skittle Shitters.
Hey, looks like we got Jeff Payton says trouble is abound because he's here.
All right, Outlaw, trouble is abound because I'm here.
Up.
Well, I'll tell you what, brother, we got a lot of badges in here, so you might want to badge up first.
You do need to be deputized, Jeff. We got to.
By the way, if you want to get your badge and get deputized and be in the Outlaw Posse, it's not $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. So join button next to the subscribe button. You get your badge, you'll be deputized. You'll get a random 4 horseman shout out on the podcast as well as possible. Be the comment of the day, just like Lester, aka Lesnar, says here with his badge. Mark Chestnut is a Skittle Shitter. Not sure who Mark Chestnut is, but congratulations on that, Mark.
Yeah. I was at that game when USC beat us down in the Orange Bowl. It was terrible. Very depressing.
Also, I saw today, man, this might interest you. I'm not sure you've been keeping up with conference realignment because it keeps percolating up. And just when you think it's done, it's not. You know, ACC has just recently took Stanford, California, and SMU. But I saw an article today, once again by SI, I think, that said the ACC is now vetting teams to try to get ahead of what's coming. Obviously, they know that something's coming. I think they're about to lose 4 teams. I think they're about to lose Florida State and Clemson, obviously, and then Miami and North Carolina are going to follow, possibly even 6 teams at that point. If the Big Ten and the SEC start, picking the bones a little bit, and they've got a list of teams here that they're vetting. UTSA, Texas San Antonio, Tulsa, Memphis, Tulane, South Florida, East Carolina, UAB, and Marshall are teams that they're vetting. To me, that doesn't sound like it's the ACC anymore. They add a bunch of those teams. I mean, should they lose their Power 5 status too?
It depends on who they lose. Yeah, very possibly. I mean, how many of those teams do you think are going to the SEC?
I think that ESPN, since they own the rights, the TV rights, the ACC, they can make it to where the SEC gets the pick of the litter. Now, a lot of people thought, the Big Ten could probably outbid the SEC, and they could if it was just about money. But the ESPN owns the contract rights to that long grant of rights thing that's going on to 2036. So the ESPN could actually come in there and sort of help the SEC get the pick of the litter.
Yeah. Well, and who would that be? Is that going to be is Clemson still pick of the litter?
They said that both the SEC and the Big Ten both want North Carolina really badly. Not sure why that's their pick, but
I want North Carolina in the SEC.
I guess it's a big market state. North Carolina's a big market. Then it's probably Florida State and Clemson, and then maybe Miami. So
all 4 of those to the SEC?
Maybe. I'm thinking at least the SEC gets to pick 2 out of that 4 that they want first, and then maybe the Big Ten comes in and gets Miami and some other teams, maybe like Virginia, because Virginia, sort of has that whole thing they like to push about the AAU, that academic accreditation thing, which we all know is horseshit, because Nebraska don't have AAU status anymore, and they're in the Big Ten. That's just their way of saying, look at us, we're better than you in academics and that kind of stuff. Notre Dame's never been AAU accredited until this past year, and they're not even a research institution. So all that is them giving them AAU status so that they can push them into the Big Ten possibly.
Yeah. I just don't know how I feel about Miami anymore, man. There was a time when I would have said that Miami is would make a good fit in the SEC, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it would be good in baseball. I mean, it would help baseball, and SEC is certainly the best in baseball as well. But do they do anything in basketball, and do they feel like an SEC school? Man, I don't know that they feel like an SEC school to me anymore. Clemson, I could see. Florida State makes sense. I would love to have North Carolina.
I think that they need to start thinking more in terms of maybe getting some schools that are good in basketball, because you already got too many football powerhouses, and someone's going to have to lose, and someone's
What about Duke? What about Duke?
Well, they could get Duke too. They could get a North Carolina Duke package going on or something.
Man, can you imagine if you added Duke and North Carolina to basketball in the SEC? Can you imagine?
Yeah, and then go out and get Kansas, who's basketball royalty as well. You have Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Duke all in one basketball conference.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. that'd be sick, man. Yeah,
Jeff Payton says Colorado barely beat Colorado State, and Oklahoma would squash Colorado right now. Right.
Dude, I would love to play Colorado. I think they would. I think they would tear Colorado up.
If they think Oregon made Shadur become Sakazulu Sanders, I'm damn sure well know that Oklahoma's defense could get to him.
Oh, absolutely, and they would definitely score on Colorado as well, 100%. I mean, man, one of the great things about Well, look, all good teams continue to get better over the course of the season, right? And Oklahoma's defense is no different. They've been getting better and better. And one of the things I think that every Sooner fan was probably looking for to see if it passed the eye test of whether or not the defense was real would be to see, do they get to the quarterback? How, are we sacking the quarterback? Are we up in the quarterback's face? And in the first few games, we just didn't see that. They didn't play poorly, but they weren't getting a lot of pressure. And then they play, without question, the best defensive front that they've seen all year, and they get 5 sacks on Ewers to the 1 sack that they get on Dylan Gabriel, who, by the way, I have now heard not just enter the Heisman talk, but sit at the top of the list in a couple of people's Heisman, top 5. So if they play Texas again in the Big 12 and they win, and he has a particularly good game, especially if USC loses 2 games or more, I could easily see Dylan Gabriel having a real chance at winning the Heisman.
I'm hearing Michael Penix Jr. of Washington is really looking.
No doubt. That dude is good.
And they've even mentioned Bo Nix at Oregon.
I'm not a Bo Nix fan.
What I'm not a fan of with the Heisman Trophy is they want to consider it to be the award for the best overall player on both sides of the ball, but they never give it to a defensive player ever. Not one that's truly a defensive player. I don't count Charles Woodson back in the day winning the Heisman Trophy because he played both sides of the ball. And that's the only reason he won that Heisman Trophy over Peyton Manning, which he shouldn't have done. I don't like Peyton Manning, but Peyton Manning was a much better player than Charles Woodson.
Oh, 100%. I was just about to read that comment.
Go ahead.
You can't stop thinking about Tebow. It's not – yeah, well, yeah, I'm thinking about him. I'm thinking about how dumb he was to leave and how cocky he was, thinking that he was going to go do something bigger and better in Southern California. And so far, it's not even close. And that's what we were all saying last year, even when we were going 6-7. Those of us who were paying attention to what BV was doing knew that it was different, knew that it was in the same vein as Alabama and Clemson, which are the only 2 football dynasties before Georgia recently. And we knew it had to be better than what Tebow is. And that's what's turned out to be the case.
You see, I'm an Alabama fan, right? So let me explain something to Neo. The reason why people can't shut up talking about it is because Tebow won't let it die, man. He won't let that shit die. Just 3 weeks ago, out of the blue, for no reason, he brings up some kind of discombobulated situation that supposedly took place at his house that was being guarded by cops already, and he had this, 20-foot fence around his house and shit. And supposedly people were trying to break into his house when he was leaving Oklahoma. And he just brings it up out of the blue. For what reason? Why didn't you talk about that when you first left Oklahoma? Why didn't you say that in like January of that next following year? Because he knows, he's hearing the chatter. He sees that Oklahoma's passing and recruiting every single year. And he made that asinine comment that you can't recruit to Oklahoma. And all it was he couldn't recruit to Oklahoma. And he can't recruit to USC either. So all he got to do is shut up talking about Oklahoma, and then we'll move on. I'm an unbiased person. I wasn't even an Oklahoma guy until here recently, So,
well, by the way, the story that he just recently brought up out of the blue for no reason, that people broke into his house, as soon as he said that publicly, I mean, dude, people were apparently – the Norman Police Department was getting barraged with phone calls with people trying to find out whether that was true or not. And it was proven to not be true. The Norman Police Department says that's not true. They weren't doing extra patrols. None of that was true. So he made it up. He just made it up to just
He
start
probably
shit.
got one little threatening message from somebody and took that shit and run with it, man. That's probably all that happened. This guy's talking about the Danny Stutzman interview. Y'all keep talking about that. It must have been a pretty epic interview from Danny Stutzman with Pat McAfee. Let's see if I can bring it up for y'all. Let me see if I can bring up the Danny Stutzman interview for you guys. Let's see what we got here.
In and congrats to you guys executing.
I mean, absolutely, man. And physicality, is the number one thing in football, especially in that Red River rivalry, man. Looking back at the history of it, the team that wins the rushing battle and the team that wins the turnover margin is the team that's going to win the game, man. And that's how you got to dominate up front, man. And that's how it's done. So that's kind of was the whole emphasis, man. It's been the emphasis since last year, obviously losing 49-0. And as a competitor, man, that's embarrassing. That's humiliating, being a part of that. But, we had a lot of guys, leave, their winter break early, get back on campus, 49 med balls every single day, pretty much, at workouts, be reminded of that. And it's just the grind that we were willing to do, for that moment right there.
Love to hear about that. Did you black out in the middle of that speech, or was that premeditated out there?
Yeah, pretty much, man. I felt like I kind of remembered that D-Hop clip of him talking about how he only fears God, and I kind of took apart from that and then kind of made it my own. And because I remember Dan Cody, another crazy defensive end that played at Oklahoma, told me you always got to have a crazy speech. And so now I try to think of some stuff to really get the guys going. But, kind of off the dome right there. If you want to get the guys pumped, obviously in a game like that at 11 a.m., a lot of emotion, man, especially with a lot of people that didn't believe in us. Like you yourself, Pat, we saw the clip.
Yeah.
But hey, that's what we need.
I know now. I learned. Okay, I apologize. I can only go off the information that I have in the moment in which I'm speaking.
Yes.
And that Texas team, when we saw it play against Alabama, it was like, this looks like a college football playoff team. Like, this is what this looks like. And I hadn't seen you guys in person.
Yeah.
As soon as we saw you guys, we're like, hold the
Boy,
phone
wow.
now. Hey, Oklahoma's got some big boys, yourself included, Danny. Loved watching your team.
And that was part of the interview. I didn't really hear the part where y'all were talking about where he made that little reference. I guess he took one of Brian Bosworth's catchphrases or something and made it his own. He did allude to that, but yeah. That's right, Rich. You know why I come up clutch, brother? You know why? Because y'all make me clutch, man. Y'all made me a better man.
Sorry, man. Now you gotta find
the clip, man.
You gotta find the quote. You gotta find the quote where he talks about, I know two things. Oklahoma only fears God and Texas fears Oklahoma.
He alluded to saying it. He didn't come out and say it, but he alluded to it. And he called Pat out for saying that and Pat had to bow down a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah. It was good though, because it was good natured. I thought it went off well. He didn't come off as an arrogant prick or anything.
Let me ask you about some of these games this weekend. We got some pretty decent games. First, the Oregon and Washington game. To me, I think that's probably going to be for the Pac-12 title. I mean, that's Captain Obvious statement right now. But what do you think about that game, Oregon and Washington?
I actually can't wait to watch the game. I really don't know. Man, I think Oregon is real. I think Oregon is for real. They looked really good when I watched them play. And I expect. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I expect Oregon to win.
Where's that game being played? I think it might be in Oregon. I'm not sure about that, though. But whichever one of these teams wins, it's got the inside track to the last Pac-12 title. And I just can't wait till USC plays one of them. The USC plays Notre Dame. We brought that up earlier. They play Notre Dame on the road in Notre Dame. It's supposed to be driving rain and possibly even cold weather. I'm not sure what the weather and the temperature is supposed to be other than rain. It would be really nice to see Notre Dame catch Southern Cal during a wet, cold rainstorm. And I think your internet has went out, Killer Breeze. Killer Breeze is having technical difficulties, I do believe. What do y'all think? What do y'all think about Oregon and Washington? Y'all think that game is going to decide the outcome of the Big 12? By the way, might have a call into the show here in a little bit. Probably Kane Reed. He wanted to do a call in for his birthday. Now, whether or not he does or not, I don't know. But as soon as we get Killer Breeze back, I'll try to get him a call in. He wanted to say something for his birthday, and I told him I'd let him do it. So, because he is one of the common Joes and common sellers in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. Also, if you don't mind, jump out of this chat, smash the like button. It pushes the algorithm and it gets more people up in here and makes this party even bigger, because that's what we're all about in here, is partying it up and talking about college football. Also, if you want to get your comment pushed to the top and get read out more readily, because we got so many comments in here now, there's a little dollar sign at the bottom. You click on that, write your comment out, then send it. However many characters you want is how much they charge you for it. You got $2, $5, $10 on up to 20 and so on and so forth. Just hit that little money button. It'll make a little donation to the show if you don't mind. Also, we have people in here with their badges. You'll see, like Rich Castle and others have their badges. If you want your badge and you want to get deputized, all you got to do is hit that join button, that subscribe button. It's now $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. That's just a bottle of water. And you'll get your badge, you'll be deputized, and you'll get your random Four Horsemen shout out on the podcast, as well as possibly be the comment of the day. That's right. Then all those media talking heads. Jeff Payton says, how sad is it that money killed a 115-year-old conference? Well, Jeff, buddy, I'll be honest with you. I'm not sad at all. You know why? Because the Pac-12 did it to themselves. The Pac-12 had a chance to kill the Big 12 conference when Texas and Oklahoma left, and they did not do it. They listened to Kevin Warren's snaky ass out in the Big 10 headquarters there. I think it's in Chicago. They listened to his punk ass and did this little kumbaya, little loosely knitted alliance with the ACC and the Big 10, and they said, we're not going to raid each other, and we're going to stand up to the big, bad SEC and the Big 12 because they made us play during the COVID year, because we're a bunch of jackasses that adhered to a bunch of shit that wasn't real. So they done it to themselves, Jeff. They could have come in and took Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, TCU, among other teams from that conference, maybe even Kansas or Kansas State, and put them in the Pac-12. But they had their little snotty noses in there and said, we're not going to soil ourselves with the truck stop conference teams. So that little snootiness that to me was probably more enacted and pushed by Stanford, California, who almost got left out, by the way, is the reason why the Pac-12 is dead today. The Big 12 would have been the team and would have been the conference that would have gotten killed off had the Pac-12 not listened to Kevin Warren's snaky ass, who said they weren't going to raid each other's conferences. And then they turned around and did it. And then they tried to say, well, we don't have blood on our hands, so we're not going to take Oregon and Washington. We just took USC and UCLA. No, you absolutely have blood on your hands, Big 10. And the Big 12 come in and sort of help finish the job. And then y'all put the nail in the coffin with Oregon and Washington. So you absolutely 150% have blood on your hands, Big 10. But that is why I do not feel sorry for the Pac-12.
Sorry about that.
What'd you do, man?
I'm having internet problems today, man. I
You
started
know,
losing
Did you eat a pack of Skittles and get choked or something?
it. No.
You're busy.
No, I heard.
I thought Longhorn done come in and got your ass or something.
No.
In case y'all missed it earlier, Killer Breeze and me inducted Texas as only the second team to be in the Skittle Shitter Hall of Shame.
That induction came at the hands, at the desire of the Twitter poll, or excuse me, YouTube poll 93% to 7% in favor of induction.
Think that's a little bit of a landslide, right? That almost look as bad as Oregon beating the shit out of Colorado and Saka Zulu Sanders.
Everybody knows what's up with Texas, man. You know, they're the biggest underachieving program in the history of college football.
Kansas State would get ripped in the Pac-12. I don't agree with that, Jeff. I think like I said earlier, I don't know if you heard me talking about it, Killer Breeze, but I do not feel sorry for the Pac-12. They killed themselves because they would not add the Big 12 schools. After Texas and Oklahoma left, they put the little noses up in there, and then Brett Yormark come in there and took the best G5 schools and curbed that shit.
Yep.
I got mad respect for Brett, even though he made a stupid ass comment at the Texas Tech luncheon about Texas Tech taking out Oklahoma and Texas. Other than that, he's a pretty ingenious guy.
Listen, he not only did he save the Big 12, he's effectively now made them kind of undisputedly the third best conference out of including the ACC. So, you can say whatever you want about him. He's kind of a dumbass. Certainly, his comments prove that.
About to have our first call in a second. Y'all gonna get to hear my cool ass. My I got a ringtone that y'all might like.
Do we have a long time listener, first time caller?
Y'all know what team that is?
That's the A team.
That's right. The A team, and the first caller on the show is Brandon Dunn, aka Kane Reeds. How's it going, brother?
What's up?
Can y'all hear?
Yep.
All right, brother. Can y'all hear Brandon?
Yeah, we can hear him. What's
How
up,
you
Kane?
doing tonight?
What you got to say for us, birthday boy?
Well, I'm 28 now.
Damn, man, you're still young.
Congratulations.
Well, I just think you're doing an amazing job, man, and I am loving the show right now.
I appreciate
We love
that.
having you. We love having you on the show,
I
Kane.
think some of those Oklahoma fans, I think they need to play off of you and everything. You're doing a good job.
Yeah, I think some of them still have a little something for me. For about 4 or 5 years ago, I used to have a little. I had a little war going on with a few of them over the whole Joe Mixon situation.
Right.
So what'd you do for your birthday, man? What'd you get for your birthday?
What's he doing for his birthday tonight?
Oh, nothing much. Just was sitting back and relaxing and watching some football and stuff.
Nice.
I didn't get really much and stuff.
You can get you a pack of Skittles?
No, I'm gonna get some of those pack of Skittles. I'm gonna get the fruit things, you know.
I'm gonna send you one of those C4 Skittle shitter drinks I get. You ever seen those Skittle flavored drinks I get, the C4s?
Oh yeah, I love those things. I drink them all the time.
That's right.
Those are good.
What you got for us,
I like
brother?
the Starburst kind too.
What else you got for us, brother?
Kane, tell us what you think.
Well, I like the other shows you guys have been doing here lately.
Killer Breeze, you got a question for him, Killer Breeze?
Yeah, ask him what he thinks the Sooners are going to do the rest of the way out. What's his prediction for the Sooners at the end of the season?
You might want to turn your radio down in the back so you can hear us.
My prediction is I think they have a good chance of winning every game.
I like it.
Well, that's the way to be.
I think they have a good chance of winning the Big 12 championship and beating Texas twice.
Like
Horns down.
That's right. Horns down twice in one season. That's never happened before.
Like
That would be a new happening for sure.
Hopefully we get to meet somebody in the playoff. Maybe we'll get to play Alabama.
Don't say it. They're gonna make me have a coronary that week. I'm gonna have a coronary that week, man. I hope I beat
don't
Georgia.
want to play Alabama.
Yeah, we want a rematch with Georgia. We want payback.
I like where Kane's head's at.
We want payback against them after what they did to us last time.
That's right.
All right, brother. I appreciate you calling in, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Kane.
All right,
You
brother.
guys, just keep on doing what you guys do.
Boomer Center, roll tide, and happy birthday, man. Go get you a stripper or something. I just wanted to try that out. He's going to have to turn his shit down in the background. It's just like when you call a radio show. You can't have that on in the background when you're on there. You have to.
We got to figure out. We got to figure out a way to get you to where we can have people call in, man. We got to figure that out. Maybe have a Zoom line or something set up to where you can splice that in.
I guess I remember your birthday, Jeff. It's been so long, man. That's a long time ago. Year 2000, man. Hell, I didn't even know what a Skittle shitter was then, but I do now. I really do now.
What is Mike Hawk talking about? Dave Portnoy saying he's an OU fan now because of what?
Do elaborate, Mike. Give us some education.
And also, which OU video is he talking about? The hype video with the receipts for the Texas game? Is that what he's talking about? I'm trying to get back on these damn comments.
Yeah, I'm sort of running behind. I pulled up a new name on here. When I see a new name, I like to pull it up. Aquarium 98mm Mayor. I don't know if I said that right or not. USC opponent's record is 10-24. 3 of their opponents have only 1 win. 1 opponent has 0, and in 1 is 3-3, and the last one is Colorado at 4-2. Yeah, USC, we're about to find out if USC is going to make Lincoln Riley go to early retirement. You know, Lincoln Riley sort of reminds me of a coach that used to fake shit all the time. A guy I like to call Urban Liar. Y'all remember him?
Oh, God.
Oh, Urban Liar, Mr. I'm having a heart attack, Mr. Fred Sanford. I'm coming to Georgia, honey. Remember old fake-ass Urban Liar? He said, I'm taking off, and I'm going to spend time with my family and my daughter and volleyball, and blah, 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 blah. And a year later, he was back at Ohio State.
Yeah, man. Urban was the word. I heard Urban on an interview, I think it was yesterday, talking about Oklahoma. It just drives me crazy, man.
Neil Gunny says,
Lori Brogdon wants to know, any chance we get the win next year? Are you talking about win the national championship? What win are you talking about, Lori?
Probably talking about Texas.
Oh, hell yeah. The answer to that question is always yes.
He says,
now, I actually, it'll be interesting to see if you think about it, because it's always just going to depend on the line. The offensive line actually looks like it's in terms of the future and for the rest of the season, might be in better shape than possible. Caden Green came into that Texas game as a true freshman and played damn good. So, as long as the offensive line can protect well, you got to feel like Jackson Arnold is gonna be good, kind of out the gun. Will the SEC move be too big for Oklahoma? Will they get bright eyes and all those new SEC stadiums? I don't think so, but
no, man.
as
Texas
long
is already, as much as we hate to admit, Texas has already proven that y'all are coming in to win, not to beat Texas A&M and Missouri and just compete.
Yeah, I think
Missouri
that's right.
did make it. Missouri made the SEC title game 2 years in a row, but neither one of them has yet to win an SEC title. Texas and Oklahoma are not coming in to just make it. They want to win it. I mean, if Texas can come to Tuscaloosa and win, Texas or Oklahoma, either one can win anywhere.
But man, the difference is, dude, and me having grown up in SEC country, I've kind of seen the both worlds, lived in both worlds. And it's one thing to go beat Bama on the road, but it's another thing when you got to go beat Bama on the road, and then you got to play LSU at home, and then you got to go play Texas A&M in College Station, and just that schedule, man, is so hard when typically in the SEC. Now the SEC seems to be down right now a little bit, and maybe that carries into next year, but even in a down year, they still have very dangerous teams, and more than one, more than two. And it's always like that. So some years it's just worse than others. So that's the only thing that I want to see. And I'm not worried about them eventually getting to where I just want to know how they're going to start out. I'm not worried about OU and the SEC long term. I never have been. I've always thought that was only going to help Oklahoma in leaps and bounds in terms of the recruiting, in terms of the competition, in terms of keeping them big game ready. I've always wanted this. So I'm not worried about it long term, but I want to see how they take the first year.
Neil Donnie says Cowherd tried to give OU grief because of the schedule despite them having UGA, but the SEC canceled it. That's true. People try to say that Georgia canceled it, but not to take up for the hedge pissers. They did not cancel that game. Neither did Oklahoma. It was an SEC thing. The reason why they didn't cancel Alabama and Texas is because a game had already been played in Austin, and that way Alabama got their return home game. If they had played each other this year, then wherever the game was being played, was it Norman, Georgia wouldn't have got a return home game for quite some time on that, and that's why they had to cancel that game.
It's really you've brought it up a couple of times. It really is a shame that they couldn't play because, Georgia doesn't typically start the season off hot, and they didn't again this year. Who knows, man? Maybe Oklahoma could have beaten them and then potentially gone into the Texas game with a win over Georgia and Texas with a win over Alabama. That would have made that game even bigger.
That's right. Now, Jeff Payton says Texas didn't beat Alabama. Alabama beat Alabama. Now, that's true as far as turnovers go, but that's a part of the game, man. It's just like with Oklahoma. They forced those 3 turnovers, and Texas didn't force any turnovers. That's part of the game. So, yes, Texas did beat Alabama. I don't get into that thing about turnovers because turnovers are a part of the game. If you turn the ball over, that's on you.
Well, and defenses create turnovers a lot of times. It's not just the offense, being sloppy with the ball. Go look at the fumble by Ewers in the Red River shootout. That is only because of Bowen. Bowen knocks that ball out. Peyton Bowen, the all-star freshman, he puts his helmet right on that ball. That ball's not coming loose unless the defense makes the play. So you have to credit that to the defense.
If Alpha Dragon Gaming, FTW, says exactly what Sark said, and just in reverse with Alabama. Texas did not beat Alabama. Alabama just ran out of time. That's true. If Sark can say that, I guess Alabama can say that too. We just ran out of time.
It's a lame excuse, man. it's so lame. There's 4 time periods. That's what it is. Or quarters, excuse me. And the game's done when it's done. I mean, yeah, you ran out of time. Oklahoma ran out of time.
Who's drinking Bud Light in here? Mark said somebody's drinking Bud Light. Who's drinking Bud Light, Mark? Tell me. I'm going to kick their ass out of the chat right now. There'll be none of that shit in here, man. That's some Skittle shitter shit right there.
Alpha Dragon got his badge.
That's right. The crazy engines in the house. I think that Tebow knew that he was leaving and he purposely set Rattle up to fail his last year at OU. I think he did it to set up Caleb for a good run so that Williams would follow him to USC.
Lincoln Riley has some kind of weird relationship with Caleb. I liken it to Urban Meyer and Tebow.
Yeah, well, at least Tebow didn't paint his fingernails and act all kooky and shit.
No, but you know what I'm talking about. Urban seemed to have a love affair with Tebow, and when Tebow left, it was
Tebow held that team together.
Yeah, it was never the same after Tebow left and he eventually left Florida. I think it's the same weirdo thing with Mary Caleb and Tebow.
Yeah, that murdering ass tight end named Aaron Hernandez on the team. The Tebow had to go get him out of a bar because he was probably going to kill somebody that night.
Yeah, you're right. What a weird man! What a crazy story that was. I watched that documentary again not too long ago. It's nuts listening to that guy.
Okay. OU special teams are going to bite them in the ass if they can't step up. Their kicker is sort of shaky and the formations look confused. So y'all special teams are problematic.
Well, we had that block punt, which certainly wasn't good. And I don't think it's a problem with the punting and the kicking is just not. The kicking is better than the punting for sure. The kicking is, I've seen worse. If you listen to Venables, he claims that he missed that one field goal in the Red River shootout because of some crazy wind. I don't know. Maybe he was just taking up for the guy. But it's not like he hasn't kicked some good field goals this year, too. He has.
I forgot about old Cuz' team was playing tonight. Who's winning that game? West Virginia's playing somebody. Who's West Virginia playing? Cuz is liable to lose the shit if they're losing. Hey, somebody hit him up and tell him to get his ass in here and do it. Give us an update or something, man. With his couch burning ass. Hey, if y'all don't mind, jump out of the chat and hit the like button for me. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit subscribe, as well as the bell next to it. If you don't hit the bell, they won't notify you when I'm up and on the air for whatever reason. So hit the subscribe button and the bell. That way you get notified when we're up and on the air. Also, you'll see these people in here with the badges like Hank and Rich Castle and whatnot. If you want to get your badge and get deputized, be in the Outlaw Posse. It's not $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. And you can get your random Four Horsemen shout out on the podcast, as well as be the comment of the day. Also, if you want to get your comment read out more readily, just hit the dollar sign at the bottom, write your comment and send it and make a donation to the show.
West Virginia's playing Houston. Houston just took the lead with 12 minutes to go in the fourth. They're leading 28-24. Houston. He's got to be going berserk, man.
That reason why he's going to lose his shit, like Hank said, is that's West Virginia's former coach, Dana Holgorsen. Holgorsen trying to stick it to him.
I saw Holgorsen when Holgorsen, before he left West Virginia officially, I caught Holgorsen meeting with some Houston folks at the casino in Lake Charles.
Got some new members up in here. Will Reed has now joined Outlaw Posse. He's got his badge. He's been deputized. So we will give you your recognition on the next podcast. We'll officially indoctrinate you. But Will Reed is now deputized, got his badge. He's mounted up, he's saddled up, he's ready to go.
Lori, to answer your question, I was saying earlier, I think if Oklahoma wins out and if they play Texas in the Big 12 and beat Texas again and go to the college playoff, yeah, I think Neri flips. I think he flips.
Now, how did Will Reed get two? How did he get two memberships? He got two memberships.
I don't know. Give that man two badges.
They got to give him two badges, man. Maybe even give him two horses. I don't know, man.
Sooner Ross, Holgorsen was feeling no pain the night I saw him at Embers in the casino in Lake Charles. He was definitely feeling no pain.
C2 Sports in the house. Outlaw always have your back. Saw that Texas dummy wanting to smoke in comments on your last video. Wanting to smoke what? Somebody was smoking in my video? Is he talking about you? Breeze ain't a Texas dummy. He's just a Houston dummy. Put his dog up tonight. And he wants to scare the shit out of him.
Yeah, that definitely didn't go all so well with the dog.
Preston Green with the badge as well. Want West Virginia to win, so Texas has to sweat it out and not have the easy path to the Big 12 game. What are you talking about? Preston, y'all still got to beat Oklahoma. West Virginia would still have to beat Oklahoma too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll read. I have no idea either, brother, but we'll make sure we get you 2 badges. I'll try to double up on them badges somehow. Is this a bottle of water? Y'all can't give me a bottle of water? Yeah, damn, I get thirsty up in here. They ain't got my Waffle House cup tonight. Did y'all like Waffle
yes.
House? Waffle House is the shit. I don't care what anybody says.
Waffle House is great.
People make
What do they call the hash browns?
gathered, smothered, and covered.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, people make fun of people that work at Waffle House. But I was telling my wife the other day, man, if you can work at Waffle House and have a good attitude about it, you're a good person, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because they don't pay them girls but like $2 an hour, and then they have to depend on a bunch of crusty-ass drunks to give them tips. I be wanting to slap the hell out of some people sometimes in there, how they treat waitresses and whatnot.
Oh, it drives me crazy. I waited tables.
Not just at Waffle House, but overall, just them people, man. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I waited tables in college.
Preston Green says if Texas loses one conference game, West Virginia will be tied, and West Virginia will be number 2 spot. Oh, you don't want to play Texas again. You don't want that rematch with Texas. Don't tell me y'all scared of Texas, man.
Hell no.
Now, you know what Stutzman just said, man. You got to listen to what Stutzman's telling y'all. He's trying to preach it.
If you
Oklahoma's afraid of God, and Texas is afraid of Oklahoma.
That's right. If you listen to Teddy and Gabe, they think Oklahoma actually has a pretty good chance if they have to play again, that it would not be a big problem. I mean, it would be a hard game, no doubt. But the fact is, they like their chances.
And next time y'all in Waffle House, y'all tell them that the OCF and Killer Breeze sent you. Maybe they'll give me a sponsorship.
Hell, that would be epic.
Killer Breeze suggested the smothered, covered, and chunk.
Scattered, smothered, and covered.
That's right. Or if you from USC, it'd be Skittle shit and
you can get them chunked too, can't you?
Yeah, chunks, everything.
Yeah.
It's like someone just threw up.
You ever been to the Huddle House?
Yeah, I've been to Huddle House. We got one here.
Huddle House is kind of Waffle House's step cousin. You know?
Yeah, man, they're like Dollar General Waffle
Yeah. Don't get the stuffed hash browns at Huddle House. That's all I have to say.
Jeff Payton wants to introduce you to one of our buddies. This is somebody running mates in high school. Jeff Payton is, and Wayne Phillips. He's one of our buddies. He's wanting to make you a 4th horseman for real in Tuscaloosa.
Let's do it, man.
We'll take over everywhere, man. I was telling a friend of mine the other day, man, we ought to meet at a neutral bowl game this year. One that don't cost a lot, something like the Independence Bowl. We all meet down there at Shreveport, go to the casino, get drunk, tell lies, watch a football game, get drunk again.
I'm down. I'm down with that.
And Shreveport's not that far, man. I'm up to 6 hours from Shreveport.
Are you closer to Shreveport than you are to Lake Charles?
I don't know. I don't know how far Lake
No,
Charles
you probably are because you're in Tuscaloosa, which is north. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we're sort of west central Alabama.
Oh wait, it's Auburn that's further north, right?
Auburn's south.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're down there in western Georgia. They don't belong to this state, man. Don't be saying shit like that.
Well, I've been to Auburn. I've been to Auburn and Tuscaloosa.
Them the Barners, man.
I've been to both places twice for
Call them the
football
Barn
games.
Monkeys.
But I thought for some reason Auburn was further north.
No, it's south. It's down there by Montgomery.
Really?
Which is a shithole too, by the way.
Yeah, Montgomery sucks.
They actually got a bowl game there, but I'll never go down there.
My ex-girlfriend lives in Auburn, and by the way, if you happen to be actually she's in Montgomery now. She went to Auburn though. And if you happen to be looking at this video, I hope you're having a horrible night.
I don't know what I will say. What? I see a new name and I like to pop it up sometimes. Yeah, we can take over Tuscaloosa. But didn't you move to Chattanooga, Jeff? You a Chattanooga moccasin now, man. Jeff's
Will Reed says Auburn is the ghetto.
Where do you say that at?
Will Reed. I see it in the comments.
Oh, I see it now. Yeah. I've never been to Auburn. I've been to a lot of places, but I've never been to Auburn.
Saved by grace. We have a problem with the F word, but we don't have a problem. I don't have a problem saying that Hamas can listen. You start decapitating babies, and
yeah. What about that? I can't remember her name. She's a congresswoman. Congresswoman. They were interviewing her and asking her what she thought about because she had a Palestinian.
She's a piece of
garbage. She had a
Palestinian
flag or something, and they want to know what she thought about them chopping babies' heads off, and she wouldn't even answer. She could have at least said, "Oh, I'm not down with it."
That was her opportunity. That was her opportunity to explain that Hamas does not represent all of Palestine. And interestingly enough, she didn't do it. I don't know why, but she didn't do it.
They're stupid, man. They don't get it. They don't understand that the worm's turning on them. Hell, even CNN and MSNBC is turning on them. They need to see it because it's coming, man. They're not going to be able to fix this election. And y'all done got me on a tangent here, something I'm a little more passionate about, even more than football. I'll start going off, man. But as far as saying the F word, we've had to temper that a little bit. But I will say a variation of that. How about thug? Hamas.
Yeah. No problem with that. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I think it's safe to say that both sides have probably done things that, cross the line. I'm sure of it. But man, when you start decapitating babies and raping kids and killing women, man, you know.
Well, I'm sure that the American military has probably done some shit that they shouldn't have done. They had a situation over there in Iraq where some soldiers went in and raped a girl and killed her family. You're gonna have that in every military, man.
Yeah. So, it's a horrible situation. There's no doubt about it. There's no winners in that deal for sure. Hopefully it doesn't spill out into the, there's just a lot of war going on right now, man. More war than makes me comfortable, I can tell you that. And I'm kind of sick and tired of funding all that war when we got enough problems here, like a poor electric grid. Why don't we start diverting some of that money to, the country that we live in besides everywhere else? It just drives me crazy. But anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. Bryce Wayne is a Marine, Semper Fi. Gotta love the Marines, man.
Jeff Payton wants to know where you're at. Where am I at?
Right now, I live on Lake Conroe, which is Conroe, Texas, just north of Houston.
Yeah, as a Marine, you can confirm. It's unfortunate, but this ain't got nothing to do with countries or borders or anything like that. It's just humans, man. People do bad shit. You have bad humans and you have good humans, man, in every country.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the 1% control the world that are evil, most likely. So,
well, I'll tell you this much. It's the golden rule, but it still reigns supreme. Everybody better start figuring out how to get along with your neighbor, even when you don't agree, because that's part of life. And just because your neighbor doesn't agree with you doesn't mean that they're any less or any greater than. They have a different opinion. If anything, take it as a chance to try to educate them on why you think that they're wrong. But this whole idea of no tolerance, no redemption, hating the people that don't agree with you, it's lame. It's real lame.
Lloyd Brogdon has a question for you. Hey, Killer Breeze, after BV retires, who could OU get as a head coach with the first name starting with B? Y'all think
Yeah.
the letter B
Let me tell you something. We're kind of in a position here because if BV if he wins a national championship, God forbid if he wins multiple national championships. I know that's way down the road, but if that were to happen, we've kind of set a precedent where the B's are the ones that have succeeded and the other ones haven't. So she's kind of got a point. I honestly don't know. I'd have to take a look at that.
I've been hearing that when Nick Saban leaves that he's coming to Alabama.
Get out of here, man. I'm not falling for that. His ass is not leaving. I can promise you that.
Y'all didn't have that shit happen to you once. Y'all don't want it to happen again, right?
The hell no. That's not happening again. BB was 50 years old when he took the job. I'm pretty sure he was 50.
Mm-hmm.
If not 50, in his very early 50s. This is the last head coaching job he's going to have.
So that would make him, 56 when he takes over at Alabama?
Never. That will never happen.
We're going to take y'all shit, man. Why do you think I've been grooming him, man? That's why I've been.
I was actually, you know
That's
what,
why
man?
I've been rooting for y'all, man. I want him to do good so we can have him.
I was actually thinking about this not too long ago. I was thinking about how perfect it is that BV came back, because I know if any of the Sooner fans were like me, seeing him have so much success at Clemson was hard to watch, because it felt like he was supposed to be, with us. And so for him to be back now, he loves Norman. His kids were born there. Kansas is right there, on the northern border of Oklahoma. This is my long-winded way of telling your ass he is not ever going to be coaching in Tuscaloosa unless he's on the other sideline coaching the Sooners to a win.
Yeah.
At Bryant-Denny Stadium.
I'm going to change his mind.
Never.
Ian Hintz has him on 12.
Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you this. That would be the only way for you to go from being one of Sooner Nation's favorite sons to being right in there with Tebow. If you talked him out of leaving, I talked him into leaving, that would not go over well.
Yeah. I might be the one entering the transfer portal before long. They keep on messing with me on my side. The Alabama fans keep messing with me.
Yeah, Alabama fans are mean, man.
Ian Hintz has him a 12-team playoff. He says Georgia, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Alabama, Oregon, Michigan, Florida State, USC, Penn State, LSU, Oregon State, and Louisville. That'll be a good 12, but we're not going to 12 this year. We're still at 4. Next year will be the first year of the 12-team playoff. I can't wait till that happens, because at that point now you can afford to lose 2 games.
Yeah.
And the SEC schools really need that.
Yeah.
Because we beat each other up all the time, and y'all find out real soon how that goes when y'all come up in here. Y'all can beat Alabama next week, and then the next week you'll have Vanderbilt sneak up on you and beat you.
Well, listen, the 12-team playoff makes the move to the SEC makes even more sense for Oklahoma. What good is it going to do them to dominate the Big 12 like they were doing and lose maybe 1 or 2 games a year to the likes of Kansas State or Iowa State, when they can go in now and they can afford to lose 1 or 2 games but get the competition of the SEC, which will prepare them better for the college football playoff. So
I guarantee you the ticket prices have went up.
100%.
And the marquee venues and the people and this, y'all going to see an extraordinary amount of media people showing up in your town now.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Ian Hintz is right. I think BV is, if he has the success that it looks like he's going to have, I think he's a 20-year coach.
I mean, 5-year coach. Come out of Alabama.
No. Y'all want Levy anyway. Y'all wanted Levy. You didn't want Venables.
Yeah,
You
screw
want
Levy. I think Saban wants to hand the job to Pruitt. I think that would be a bad idea, Hank. Pruitt has been he has been implicated in some pretty serious accusations, him and his wife. So Alabama won't do that. These people out here at Alabama, they're real sort of like Bible thumpers, man. They want to portray themselves as high moral ground, but really in reality they're not. But when they come to hiring a coach, if you have any kind of stench on you whatsoever, they're not going to hire you. And that's why Pruitt's not here today, because of that stuff. He would have been the coordinator this year had it not been for that situation at Tennessee.
Yeah. He's not affiliated. He's not affiliated with the program at Bama again, is he?
No, he's not. He better not be. Gonna get us in trouble. And a lot of people talk about Lane Kiffin coming to Alabama. I don't think that'll happen either, because of the stuff that Lane did while he was here. He had a nickname. His nickname was Joey Freshwater, and that was his alias when he went out on campus and was frolicking with the co-eds.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
You know, he probably banged a couple of boosters' daughters, and he's probably not going to be here as the head coach anytime soon. I would love to have him. If it was me, I'd give him a chance. I like Lane Kiffin. He likes to press people's buttons just like me.
Oh, I think Lane would be great in Alabama.
Lord trying to piss me off now.
No way, Tebow would never go to Bama. He's too big of a chicken shit.
Look, if he thinks he got threatened at Oklahoma, just ask Bill Curry what happened down here.
Oh, I remember that. Bill Curry went.
They threw a damn brick through his window.
10-1, and they threw a brick through his window of his home.
Actually, it was 10-2.
Was it 10-2?
It was much better. I have serious doubts about that story, though. I think that maybe Curry had somebody throw that brick through his window. He pulled a damn Tebow. He pulled a damn Linky Boy before Linky Boy was Linky Boy.
Yeah, he certainly fell out of favor quick.
Ray Perkins was actually a decent coach, Jeff, in my opinion. He just got tied up in being the guy that followed Bear Bryant, and it was just too much for him. He ended up going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If he had never went to Tampa Bay, he probably would have been a decent coach. Jeremy Pruitt, I think he's got a little too much stench on him. You know what it was? He got around that damn Phil Fulmer up there, and that's what done it. Being around Phil Fulmer will really make you stink.
You know what always amazes me? It always amazes me that no one ever seems to remember Gene Stallings' tenure at Alabama.
No, right?
They were good under Stallings, man. Those defenses were good.
The Alabama haters will be like, or y'all just Saban and Bryant. I'm like, you do realize that Gene Stallings won a national title between those two, right?
Absolutely.
So we ain't just Bear Bryant and Saban. We've been doing this shit since 1925, just like Oklahoma. You know, y'all been doing this shit since the 1920s and 30s too.
Yeah.
History tends to repeat itself. That phrase, that catchphrase is there for a reason, because it's an actuality. It really happens. We will repeat. We will win a national championship after Saban. We've had 5 different head coaches win national titles here.
Yeah.
And there will be a 6th. It may not be the coach that follows Saban that does it, but there will be another coach that wins a national title at Alabama after Saban.
Yeah. No, yeah, man. It's undeniable. It really is undeniable.
I got you a fellow coon ass in here. Slade Baker. So he spent 7 years working LSU football games.
Slade knows what I'm talking about. But I gotta say, I've been to many games in Norman, and the Norman the game day atmosphere there for big games has really improved a lot, and it's only going to get better when we join the SEC. They're going to see because that's the one thing that you can't deny, man, is the football atmospheres in the SEC are just second to none. I remember going to my first game in a UT game in Austin when I lived there, and I couldn't believe how low key it was compared to what I used to see in Baton Rouge all the time, as well as Norman. Not even compared to Norman.
Now Matt's really trying to piss me off. Now he's talking about con time coming here.
You know what? No, look, Saban and Dion are friends. They do that stupid commercial together.
I know, man. I see it. Every time I see that cringe, I'm like, man, damn Saban.
I've heard a couple of people talking about it.
You trolling me now. Screw that.
No, that's serious.
No, it better not be. I definitely will enter the transfer portal as a fan if that shit happens. I'll be coming on Oklahoma's Boomer Schooner full time.
That's awesome.
I love you more, Matt. But you get my blood pressure up, man. You get my blood pressure pumping here. Talking about con time coming to Tuscaloosa.
Man, I'm probably going to have to run in about 15 minutes.
All right, brother. Yeah, Stallings gave you the beatdown defensively. You're right. The only problem I had with Stallings was the fact that he did not want to score a lot of points, man. Once he got up by 17 points or so, he would just pull back.
But he was an old school coach, though. So I don't think Stallings believed in. I think he thought it was rude to run up the score. Don't you?
Yeah, but sometimes you have to run the score up because of the offenses nowadays. He's old school, man. He didn't understand what was coming for him. Steve Spurrier introduced him to it a little bit. Steve Spurrier sort of took the mantle away from Gene Stallings. Gene Stallings probably would have won more than one national championship had it not been for Steve Spurrier. Speaking of my team, Alabama, we got an Alabama fan here named Jeff Payton. We'll get y'all's take on the Alabama-Arkansas game this week. Alabama plays Arkansas for homecoming. Now, it might seem like a simple win, but Arkansas has been close in just about every game they've played.
West Virginia just scored.
The only problem with Arkansas is they can't win the close games, man. It sort of reminds me of Oklahoma last year in a way. Arkansas's other problem is that they're in a great conference. If Arkansas was in another conference, Arkansas would probably be a top 4 team in that conference, but they're not. But what do y'all think about Alabama and Arkansas tomorrow? You think Alabama will take care of business?
I do. It seems like Milroe is really starting to come into his own. He had over 300 yards passing last week, didn't he?
Yeah, he had 321 yards, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
So he's coming to his own. He's getting where he can throw that mid-range pass. That's been his problem the whole time is he can't throw the intermediate routes. He's more of a long ball guy, or either he'll run with it. He either takes off running or throws a long ball, but it looks like he's coming into his own.
Yeah.
What about Tennessee and Texas A&M? Nobody's really talking about that too much. That's a pretty big matchup for both of those teams. It's going to be like knockout Saturday for them, right?
Man, I've been disappointed. I thought Tennessee was going to be better. Of course, I want Josh Heupel to do well, but they've been a disappointment this year. I mean, I don't think there's any two ways about it, don't you think?
Yeah, they've been. I think the Florida loss has really made people think that maybe Tennessee's not as back as much as they think they are. Sort of like with Texas getting their ass handed to them by Oklahoma. But Rich Castle says Ian Hint says, I predict SEC has 3 or 4 teams in the playoffs next season: Bama, Georgia, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Texas. Rich Castle says, excellent point, Outlaw, about Spurrier. Yeah, like I said, if Steve Spurrier hadn't came along, Gene Stallings would probably won 2 or 3 national championships. But Steve Spurrier was ahead of his time offensively, and Gene Stallings just wasn't up to the task in keeping up. And that's what happened with Stallings.
He was a good coach, though, man. Didn't really work out in the NFL, right? Didn't he coach with the Cardinals?
Yeah, he was pretty awful in the NFL.
Yeah. I think I remember him being like
He actually was the head coach at Texas A&M, and it didn't work out there either.
Was he really?
Yeah, he beat Bear Bryant. He was the first pupil to beat Bear Bryant, was Gene Stallings.
Oh, wow.
And they beat him in a Cotton Bowl, I think it was. And Alabama shouldn't even been there. You know, back in the day, you didn't have like 4 or 5 bowls, and they'd go out and get a team like Alabama, even if they had 4 or 5 losses, because they traveled well. They wouldn't give an invitation to a team that might have deserved it more. But now they got 2,000 bowl games. You know, now anybody gets a bowl bid. It's nothing, man. They need to do away with all them damn bowls, man. That's too many bowls.
Ian Hintz thinks Tennessee is going to win by a field goal, and Jimbo gets told to pack his shit. I would love to see that happen.
That's going to be a huge buyout. Huge buyout.
Yeah,
I know Texas A&M's got deep pockets, but I don't even know if their pockets are that deep. I think they're probably stuck with this guy for at least another year. Let that buyout come down or something.
Well, they do have really deep pockets, not just deep, really deep. But they've also spent a ton of money, you know, ever since NIL opened up. So I don't know. I don't know what to think, man. I never know what to think of A&M. They always do dumb things.
Yeah, Copenhagen, that happens every year. When Alabama loses early, that's the end of the dynasty. It's finally over. Saban's going to retire. And sooner or later, they're going to be right. And they're going to say, well, see, we told you so. But hell, y'all done said it about 20 times. So, yeah, you're going to be right 1 time out of 20 eventually. But what's that say about your percentages and being able to read college football?
Right.
That's why
right.
This is the show of the Common Joe and the Common Sound and Low. Even more so than all the media talking heads, Killer Breeze.
That's right.
I'm going to have to get a T-shirt on that, man.
You do, man. You need to get that merch store lined up.
Yeah, I had to talk to Jonathan Lewis about that, man. Said he's going to have it set up for me. He ain't done it. What he needs is a good killer slap from Killer Breeze.
Matt Bingham wants to know if we think the running backs will finally get healthy with this bye week. I don't know, man. I think Tyree Walker just earned himself the starting job the rest of the way out. If those other guys start showing something in practice, maybe so. I mean, Javonte and Gavin Sawchuk certainly looked great in the bowl game against Florida State. So I thought we were going to see that all year this year. It just hasn't happened. So I think with Tyree's performance, laying the boom on that one guy on that one run where he popped out and spun out and got 10 more yards or so, and then getting the 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground, which Major couldn't do. But you gotta be happy about what you saw with Oklahoma running the ball, even if it was mainly Dylan Gabriel doing the running. They still have to block the same. So the fact that they were able to outrush Texas, I think Oklahoma had 201 yards or 202 yards total, and I think Texas, if I remember correctly, had 150.
Jeff Payton thinks Jalen Milroe can scorch A&M's defensive backs. Joe Milton will be able to scorch A&M too. I don't know if Joe Milton's actually better than Jalen Milroe, though. To be honest with you. I think they're about to say.
And then this year, I mean, it hasn't worked out that way for him this year.
You know, Lori brought up the subject, broached the subject of Brent Venables retiring. That's probably 20 years down the road.
That's right.
So, you know, because he's going to do 10 years at Oklahoma and then 10 years at Alabama. But
man, why are you starting to stir it up at the end of the night?
All kidding aside, the more pertinent question and something that's coming up on us is who's going to succeed Nick Saban?
Right.
Who do you think is going to succeed him? I know the Dabo Swinney thing was the captain obvious choice for a while, but I don't know if Dabo's in the favored eyes of Crimson Tide fans these days.
I wouldn't want Dabo anymore. Dabo's proven out to be he's proven to have some serious flaws, namely his inability to adapt with the changes. He wants to stand high on his horse about, you know, NIL and the transfer portal. Well,
yeah, exactly.
You know, you're gonna die on that sword, man.
He's gonna be like his coach, Gene Stallings. He's not wanting to change with the times.
That's right.
And he's got to change, man. You got to adapt. That's what the great ones do. Bear Bryant done it. Nick Saban's adapted. I mean, Nick Saban bitched about the up-tempo offense and stuff, but he's like, all right, well, I'm going to start doing it too. But he's like, you know, this is not really good for college football.
Saban's so funny, man. I love the way he works the media.
Yeah, well, Kentucky has become the new Clemson. You remember they used to have something called Clemsoning? They used to find a way to lose before they won them 2 titles. Kentucky's the same way. Kentucky will go 5-0 every year, 6-0, and then they'll just shit the bed against, usually it's Georgia, and then they lose their bowels the rest of the year, and they go back to being the basketball school that they've always been, and they're not even that good at basketball anymore because Alabama whooped their ass pretty good this year in basketball. Beat them by like 34 points or some shit.
Yeah, I wonder if Calipari is, you know, didn't they give him a lifetime contract too?
Yeah. And we got an update from the Common Joe in the comments I was in the note. Michael McCall says it's 35-32. Houston is leading.
Houston's on the 50. It's 2nd and 10. Houston's on the 50.
Says Houston's leading.
Yeah, they are. They're up 35-32. Kuz must be crapping in his pants.
Got a new member. Brandon Burton has now gotten his badge. He's deputized. He's ready to go. He's saddled up. He's mounted to go, man. Got that badge. Now you'll get your random 4 horseman shout out as well as possibly be the comment of the day, Brandon. We'll introduce you on the next podcast that I do. And if y'all want to get your badge like Brandon Burton just did, it's $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. It's just a bottle of water. And like I said, you'll get that random 4 horseman shout out as well as possibly be the comment of the day.
3rd and 10. Brandon Burton, welcome to the Outlaw Posse. You've been deputized. Get up in the saddle.
That's right. Also, if y'all want to get your comments pushed to the top, there's a little $sign at the bottom of this video. You can make a donation to the show. Click on that $sign, write your comment out, and send it, and we will read it out as soon as you send it.
Show the Outlaw a little love. YouTube makes it difficult with the way they stick us on limited ads, which is ridiculous.
They've been poking me pretty good here lately. I ain't gonna lie to you.
No, it's BS, man. Oh, West Virginia holds on the 4th and 6.
How much time is left in that game?
2:29.
Matt Beaton says WVU is overrated. You're probably right about that. Don't tell Kuz, though. We haven't even spazzed out on here.
It is on the road. It's at Houston. And Houston's been pretty bad this year.
Yeah, they've been. They're like that 2-3, right?
Yeah, they are 2-3. That is correct.
Tad Lasso should go to Bama after Saban. Believe. Who the hell is Tad Lasso?
Ted Lasso is that show with Jason Sudeikis on HBO. Oh no, on Apple TV.
I don't know who that is. What's he do?
Jason Sudeikis. That's the guy in Horrible Bosses with Jason Bateman.
Who's Ted Lasso? Who's Ted Lasso?
Ted Lasso is a character that Jason Sudeikis plays. He's a soccer coach from the United States coaching in the Premier League.
Soccer sucks, man. I don't care what anybody
Yeah.
says. Well,
It's a
the
comedy
entire
sport.
world will disagree with you. Well, the entire world ain't been introduced to college football either, so
Soccer is a communist sport.
it's a dumbass sport. Wow, we just had a barn burner. It was 3-2. Soccer.
Brandon said he had to clean his gun and polish his saddle. He's ready to ride. I want to see West Virginia pull this out so our boy Coos doesn't have a coronary tonight.
Yeah, I want to see him keep winning, man. I like Kuz. He's a good guy.
He is.
He's not with us tonight because he's probably sitting there stressing like we would be doing if Alabama were Oklahoma were playing.
If you guys want to, if you haven't checked out his show, go check out Coos' Corner.
Yeah, Kuz, he's more than just West Virginia sports too. He
is.
He does some pretty good interviews with some people, and he also does a lot of good stuff on college football conference realignment.
Yeah.
Because that is the hot topic these days.
Coos is a good guy. He plays it right down the middle.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think Dabo is going to adapt anytime soon, Jeff, to be honest with you. I think he's a little hard-headed. I hope he does because I like Dabo.
Man, what about Mario Cristobal, man?
Yeah, Mario would be a good choice if he'd leave Miami.
No. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Mario Cristobal not taking a knee in that game with Miami versus Georgia Tech.
Well, they got their ass beat, didn't they?
Yeah, but didn't you see what happened?
I did not see that.
So Miami was winning, and Miami was basically had the lead 20-17, and the clock was Georgia Tech was out of timeouts, and the clock was down enough to where all they had to do was take a knee, and the game is over. But he handed the ball off, and the dude fumbled, and then Georgia Tech went down the field and scored in 2 plays with 30 seconds left or something. They went down and scored in the last second.
Well, I heard it was like a Hail Mary or something.
Right, it was the last play of the game.
Alabama almost did the same shit. Did you see the end of the Alabama game?
I did not.
Against Texas A&M, we threw the freaking ball. We threw an incompletion, and all he had to do, Milroe, was just knee. And Saban called timeout. And
he threw the ball?
He was getting on his ass, and he was getting on Tommy Rees' ass probably in the headset. For whatever reason, instead of kneeing it, he on the first down, he threw the ball. And it skipped and hopped. It was almost a lateral behind the line of scrimmage and almost cost us a game because Milroe had to throw the ball with 7 seconds left to run out the clock, on 4th down. Instead of punting the ball, we just scrambled around the back and threw it. But it shouldn't have came to that because they shouldn't have called that pass play. It should have been a kneel down, just like the Miami situation.
Well, they're talking about Miami was undefeated. And it looked like they were going to play for the ACC.
Speaking of which, North Carolina plays Miami this week. Both teams should probably be undefeated going into this game. It's going to be a huge game for either one of these teams. Could have been real huge for Miami. It could have propelled them up into the top 10. And now we're talking about North Carolina maybe.
Oh, shit. West Virginia with a 21-yard pass to the 50. First down, 1:17 left.
They got plenty of time.
Yeah, they do.
It's 35-32, so they can tie it and put it into overtime.
They need to go for the win.
Mark Nethercutt keeps saying somebody's drinking Bud Light. Well, Mark, I need to know who's drinking Bud Light so we can escort them out. I'll make sure I ban their ass. Don't be none of that Bud Light shit up in here. Don't be shopping at Target either, man. You might get a pair of underwear that has a tuck mechanism in it and end up you almost made me cuss, man. Screwing yourself in the ass with your underwear.
That's funny, man. Well, brother, listen, man. I need to run. I got to get up early in the morning for work.
All right, brother. It's good having you on again.
Awesome hanging with the chat, hanging with the Outlaw Posse, man. Let's do it again sometime soon.
All right, brother. Take care.
Take it easy.
And that was Killer Breeze of the Oklahoma Sooner fan base. Pretty good booster for the Sooners. Knows how to talk knowledgeable football, that kind of deal. That's what we're all about here, is about college football. Common Joes and Common Sallies in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. Bloody X-Gun says, 1 minute and 17 seconds is what OU had, no timeouts on their own 25 and won the game. That is true. That is true. Yeah, it gets people going all right, and they put me on limited ads, man. I almost said the F word there. I almost did it. Yo, Killer Breeze, he's a pretty cool guy. He's thinking and contemplating about getting his own podcast. I'm trying to break him in a little bit, maybe influence him into maybe one day getting his own podcast. He's already got a cool ass name. Killer Breeze in and of itself is a cool name, so that'd be a great name for a podcast, right? All right, I'm gonna go back to something real quick before we get out of here. The ACC, they said earlier, I want to get y'all's take on this before I get out of here. I didn't really get y'all's take on it. The ACC supposedly is vetting some teams to possibly join the ACC to try to get ahead of what they think is coming. They think that maybe there's going to be a mass exodus from the ACC pretty soon. Florida State and Clemson are the Captain Obvious teams, and then Miami and North Carolina, and then maybe following them would probably be Virginia and NC State. But in order to try to get ahead of that, unlike the Pac-12 did, they said they're vetting a few teams. The list I got here is Tulsa, Memphis, Tulane, South Florida, East Carolina, and UAB. Now, the two teams that I added to that mix are UTSA, which is University of Texas, San Antonio. San Antonio is a great market. All they need is that big golden ticket, sort of like UCF did when they got in the Big 12. They need that golden ticket, like BYU. If UTSA can get that Willy Wonka golden ticket and get in the Power 5 conference, Texas San Antonio could be a major player in college football one day, I'm telling you. And then maybe Marshall. I don't know. But what do y'all think about that? Who do y'all think the ACC is going to go after? They said they're vetting a few teams to try to get ahead of the curve. So who would y'all put in the ACC at this time? Yes, pretty cool name for sure. And if y'all don't mind, jump out and hit the like button. Pushes this with the algorithm and whatnot. And if you ain't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. Hit the subscribe button and the bell. You have to hit both. That way you get notified when we're up and on the air. You can come hang out with us just about any time you want. Also, you'll see people on here with badges like Matt Bingham and Hank. If you want to get your badge and get deputized and be in the Outlaw Posse, it's now but $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. And if you're on an Apple phone, you might have to go to your laptop or your computer because Apple phones do not mesh with YouTube memberships. Get your badge, get deputized. Get your random 4 horseman shout out, as well as possibly be the comment of the day. Also, at the bottom of this video, it's a little dollar sign. If you want to get your comment highlighted and have us read it out above everybody else's, just hit the dollar sign, write your comment out, and send us a donation. West Virginia 1 says, Lori Brogdon, appreciate the update from the Common Joe and Common Sally in the know. Even more so than all those media talking heads. I'm glad they won for not Killer Breeze. I'm glad they won for Kuz's sake. I'm glad they won. The ACC would go after Florida. What? Florida wouldn't join the ACC. Florida's in the SEC. They make too much money. The ACC would probably go after an array of Conference USA teams. Now, there are some teams in the MAC that people aren't discussing that might be on the radar as well. A team that's been good off and on throughout the years is Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois actually come down here to Tuscaloosa when we were in disarray with Mike Shula. I think it was Mike Shula. They come down here and beat us. Northern Illinois did. Or it might have been Dennis Franchione's first year. Has Oregon State found a place yet, says Copenhagen? No, I don't think so. But I think Oregon State and Washington State are in the process of suing. I'm not real privy to the details of that, but from what I'm understanding, they actually, from what people are saying, they actually got a pretty good lawsuit in place to possibly make them pay them a lot of money, either that or give them an invite to the Big 12. Which I always said that I thought that Arizona State and Utah sort of snooted their noses up a little bit there for a while, like they were too good for the Big 12. Utah came around. Arizona State continued to drag their feet. If I had been Brett Yormark, I would have told Arizona State to take a hike, and I would have invited Oregon State or Washington State at that point. Oregon State's got a pretty good fan base. Corvallis is a pretty unique place to play football. Chris Lieberman says Tulsa, South Florida, Tulane, Memphis to the ACC, says Chris Lieberman. Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. You know, Memphis has been trying to get that golden ticket for a while too. Memphis is right in the middle of the United States. It's the home of FedEx, so they would have FedEx money probably. South Florida is in a very good market, by the way. And Tulane's in a decent market. New Orleans is not the market that it once was. But South Florida would be a great get, especially if they lost Miami. They could replace the Miami market with the Tampa Bay market, which is just as probably lucrative these days. I could be wrong about that. I think they would go after Marshall because it's West Virginia, and then maybe Tulane or some Cali schools. They may go. They may actually, what we was just talking about, they may go like Copenhagen was brought it up. The ACC's got Stanford and Cal coming, so why not get Oregon State and Washington State? And they'd have their 4-team branch out there, sort of like the Big Ten. You'd have Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, and Washington State in the ACC. And then maybe get a team in the middle somewhere, sort of like they did with SMU. Get UTSA, maybe. Texas San Antonio. Like I said, it's a great market, brother. Going on 2 hours with this show. So I guess I'm going to get up out of here. Unless you guys and gals got something else you want me to highlight or say or touch on before we get out of here. Give y'all a few seconds to decide what you want to say before we get up out of here. Chris Lieberman says Clemson and North Carolina to the Big 12 will take 4 teams. Hail Mary Miracle. Okay, so West Virginia, one on a Hail Mary Miracle. Is that what you're saying? Sheldon Lamey's in the house, coming in at the tail end. We've been going for a while, Sheldon. I'm fixing to get up out of here, brother. That's what happens in college football, Copenhagen. You just never know, brother. Good to see you again, Jeff. Holler at me sometimes. I'm going to check on Wayne and his mother tomorrow. Keep them in your prayers. Wayne Phillips and Cecilia Phillips are some friends of mine. His mother, Cecilia Phillips, is in the hospital, and she needs y'all's prayers. With that, I'm going to get up out of here, brothers and sisters. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel as always. Hit that bell so you can get notified. Also, you can join the Outlaw Posse and get that badge like Hank and Sheldon Lamey and Matt Bingham have. And that way you can get your Four Horsemen shout out as well as possibly the comment of the day. It's not $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week, just a bottle of water. And I'm out of here. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.